I'm James Rostance and welcome to the 414 Extra. So this is where we get to deep dive now into the content we've just covered in the main show. And joining me still is Debbie Penton from Wildfire PR.
Hi.
Debbie, so I thought it'd be good to look into the challenges that marketers commonly face when they set about setting up an integrated campaign. Could you tell me a bit more about that?
Sure. Well, one is that marketers have almost no time on their hands and multiple channels that they're already experts at actually kind of creating from a demand generation point of view. In terms of how to create a story around their brand that kind of resonates with lots of different audiences, it's kind of hard to lift yourself out of the weeds when you're working on the same product or set of services every single day. So it's great to work with people who can actually help elevate that story and think about the bigger picture, and also think from the perspective of journalists, because if you can put PR at the beginning of a marketing campaign, then it almost supercharges it with good things like backlinks and coverage, being able to found through SEO. Those are things that a marketing person can't achieve on their own and can be achieved through those connections into the media.
Okay. And in the case example that you gave as well, you managed to make one report last over the course of a year. How do you actually set about repurposing that? Are you actually repurposing it, or how would you set about doing that?
I think the key is that we've done these for many years. In the past, PR people used to do research, send out a press release, and that was all they did with it. These days, we do a lovely piece of research or some thought leadership. We create a lovely report, but we almost put into those lots of different news angles, thinking, right, how many times can we reuse that? So we kind of set about reuse from design, and we make sure that once we've announced one angle, we hold another load back so that we can keep going out with different kinds of stories, but that all relate to that central piece of content. Then everything that we do, whether that's social media posts or press releases or articles or blogs, all have links back to the download page where that report might be held. It can also then be used for marketers for webinar content and presentations, and even put in sales decks. So it can be a really valuable piece of content that you can reuse and reuse. The important thing being is the world doesn't need more content, it needs better content, and that's the kind of thing that we're trying to create.
So one of the other things I'm acutely aware of is the attention span of viewers and readers. How do you manage that with these reports and setting up these integrated campaigns?
I think that the kind of pieces of content that we kind of engage people with are usually shorter form. There'll be short articles of a few hundred words, or blogs or press releases or tweets. If people are interested in finding out more, they've got a kind of path to conversion really. They can go, well, that's an interesting story, let me go and find out more. And at that point they download the report. We make sure these reports are really easy to read, very compelling, visually stimulating, and not sort of turgid white papers. But ultimately, as far as the kind of marketer's concerned, what they're really interested in those people's data. So it's like, we don't really mind if they read that report or not, but if they've exchanged their data in return for the report, that's the gold dust that the marketers can then use to kind of feed into their marketing funnel.
I'm with you, okay. But it sounds like that you're also putting a lot of work into actually making it a qualitative report that the readers will actually likely consume in full.
Yeah, and I think that's because qualitative and quantitative stats give you lots of different angles and thought leadership and stories that you can build. So if you've got a nice stat, that makes a nice headline, but we also want to, think about the context of why that statistic is why it is, and position our clients as adjacent to that story so that people automatically think they're experts in that subject matter.
Brilliant stuff. Debbie, thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure.